Hey basketball players, coaches, and fans, today I am going to be breaking down some of the math onto what could be potentially the highest scoring basketball game that you could ever have. Let's get down and let's check out some of the math, what goes into seeing who could be or what could make the highest scoring basketball game. So the first thing that you really want to look at is the average team possessions per game. And then what we also want to look at is the average three-point shot per team. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you can shoot over 35% from the three-point line, you're going to score more than you would if you were to shoot the average of the two-pointers within the three-point line, and then getting and one options as well. So with knowing that, we need to really look at three-point shooting. And knowing this, what we need to do is to obviously think of some different three-point plays that can get us different options to shoot three-point shots with our best players in game for every single shot that we take. Now, if this was the case and we were to shoot 38% out of 108 possessions, let's see what we would get. So we would have 108 possessions at 38%. So this would potentially get us about 41 three-point shots. So we could potentially say that we could score 123 points in a game. However, we really need to look at the fact that there's many NBA teams, the Toronto Raptors being one, that have scored more than 123 points. And how did they do this? Well, some teams have reached into overtime. And let's face it, 108 possessions is the average for the team that gets in the NBA, which is Minnesota last year, who had the most possessions per game. Now, some teams are going to have more possessions per game. And we're starting to see different leagues around the world, NBA, Europe, and a whole bunch others who are reaching into the 120 and 130 possession games, not necessarily by average, but in single games every once in a while. I've even heard of teams getting up to 140 possessions in a single game. And if we were to actually run a three-point offense, I can almost guarantee you that we will have many possessions, because you could run 10-second plays at each possession, and if that's the case, you could literally double that 108 possessions per game, almost double it to almost 200. And if that's the case, if we were to shoot 38% and we had, let's say, 150 possessions in a single game, that would be 57 three-point shots, which would then equal an astounding 171 points in a single game. Now, with the NBA really focusing in on three-point shooting, I can almost guarantee you that 38% is going to go much higher. With teams like the Toronto Raptors, who are scouting pretty well anybody who can shoot a three-point shot and who can play defense, this is a mathematical equation that we really need to look at. And that is, can we run a whole season running only three-point shots only, get that offensive rebound, kick it out for another three-point shot? Can we statistically be able to win a game doing this? And the case is we've seen teams actually demonstrate this before. There's been a D-League team or a couple of D-League teams that want to run just strictly three-point offenses. And a player who I actually had the privilege to play on the same team as back when we were in high school was Brady Heslip, one of the greatest three-point shooters I have ever seen. And I'm going to be breaking down his shooting form ever, because he is the greatest three-point shooter that you've probably never heard of. And he shoots at an astounding over 50% clip. This is insane. Now, if we could get a little bit higher of a percentage, let's say we could boost our team three-point percentage to 45%. If we can do that at 108 possessions, at 45%, that would then bring us to 49 3-point shots. At 49 3-point shots, we could potentially get 147 points, which would pretty well outscore any opponent that we would play against. If we were to reach to 150 possessions at 45%, we're now looking at an astounding 67 3-point shots made, which equals a crazy 201 points. Now, how would we reach 150 possessions in a game? Well, let's see. If there is 48 minutes on the clock, there's a 24-second shot clock, and let's say the other team takes 20 seconds to run. That leaves us with 24 seconds for each possession, but we're going to cut this down. What we're going to do is cut this down to only 10 seconds. Can we get a shot up every 10 seconds? And the answer is yes, you can. Can you do it at 45%? Who knows? Well, with 48 minutes on the clock, shooting every 10 seconds for every possession, we would be able to reach 150 possessions very easily. And like that, the max score that we could potentially get is around 200 points for a single game, about 201. Now, at that point, that's going to be a very rare score to get. I know that's not happened yet, and of course with more 3-point shooting happening, I do think that that will happen sometime eventually. But again, any time that there's somebody who changes the league, for example, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they changed the league. Now we have Robinson and Hero who are continuing on with that 3-point legacy. I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be somebody somewhere who finds a player who's able to stop, or at least a team who's able to stop that kind of range. So keep that in mind. Anytime there is a reaction, there's always an equal and opposite reaction. For example, we went from having bigs like Shaq and Yao Ming to having smaller players like Steph Curry. Always remember that. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.